one thing that's really frustrating for Goldwing, especially DCT riders, is the parking brake. It's just one of those things that's not very well designed, in my opinion. We always tend to leave that parking brake on, and then we ride off, and after a few times, it just doesn't work very well. It stretches the cable, it wears out the brake pads, and so it was a problem looking for a solution, and today we're going to talk about that solution.
Welcome to another episode of Garage Talk, the podcast for motorcycle enthusiasts with your host, Cruiseman. Today's episode is sponsored by Cruiseman's Honda Goldwing maintenance videos, a collection of more than 80 videos that show you how to maintain your own Honda Goldwing. Today's episode starts now.
So I'm very excited to welcome you back to Garage Talk, and today we're talking with the owner of Bullet Brake, and Mark Tilton. Welcome to Garage Talk.
Cruiseman, thanks so much for having me.
Sure.
Very happy to be here, and your audience and your community has been absolutely awesome to Bullet Brake.
Oh, cool. Well, let me give everybody a little history. I was out at Southern Honda in Tennessee back, I think last spring, and I met a gentleman that had a trike. You'll probably know his name because he has the orange trike, and he had your product installed on his trike, and he showed it to me, and I thought, that's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive. And I think after that, I reached out to you. It might have been when I went out to pick up my Goldwing, my 24. Is when I met him. I think it was before Goldwings and Glizzies.
It was. And I think it was the fall before that. Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. So we were able to connect, and I got a unit in to test and install on my bike, and I did a review video of it, and I've been very impressed with it, and would like you to share with everybody kind of what your background is before Bullet Brake. What were you doing before that?
Well, I appreciate you asking that, because we all have stories, and some of us are in career 2.0 or 3.0 or wherever we're at in life. So I actually worked for a large soda corporation for their corporate headquarters here in Atlanta. And I was an IT guy. Okay, so front-end technology, basically everything. There were about 10 to 12 of us that controlled everything we use globally for front-end technology, anything that touched our internal user base, which was about 45,000 people. And we also had partners and bottlers, which are different than corporate, which, that was more like 140,000 desktops. So it was an interesting job, kind of a solution provider.
How did you get involved with Bullet Brake? How'd that come about?
Well, when you're dealing with 140,000 workstations, sometimes you're going to go to a bar every once in a while, and I kind of met a regular. I met a gentleman that was just kind of randomly talking to me about an invention that he had for motorcycles, which is, sure, I rode as a kid. I'm not a regular rider, but I thought it sounded pretty neat, and I said, okay, yeah, let's talk about this, and we did, and we talked about it for a couple months, and I kind of learned what was going on there, and thought, wow, this is pretty handy. So I just helped, that takes a little bit, just a touch of capital to start, to get to with the machinist, so you can prototype something and things like that, and bring things to market. And it took about 6 months, 7 months to actually get one that I felt comfortable enough that we could actually launch a company at that point. So he was my business partner. It's all his idea, not mine. But he is no longer with the company. I bought his share out. He didn't want to wait and all that. And growing things takes time. You'll probably hear me say this several times. When you're a garage company, you got a great idea or good idea or whatever it works out to be. It takes some time to get that word out. If you don't have some giant marketing budget, marketing team, I mean, we're talking, you start things from scratch. You're talking logos. I mean, probably preaching to the choir here. So
Oh yeah, I've been there.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It takes a while to grow your brand. And especially when you're kind of one of one, I'm not saying we reinvented a wheel here, but there's not anything quite like it. And you learn a lot of things along the way. I don't want to go off on a tangent, just to say that when you're learning things as you go, there's changes, there's modifications, and all of that takes lead time. And it's just one of the challenges. And
sure.
We've done pretty decently with that, I think, just to get to where we're at.
And for those that may be watching this for the first time, and maybe they didn't see my review, maybe they don't know what bullet brake is. I brought one here. I'm holding it up. It's basically a little device. I'll try to explain it, then I'll let you elaborate. It's a little device that mounts to your front brake master cylinder. And basically it's, I guess the way to describe it, it's kind of like a piston that locks when you pull in your front brake, and it locks your front brake disc to your front brake pads to your discs and keeps the bike from moving. Now, I'll let you elaborate and give a much better technical explanation than that. And then I've got some questions for you.
Sure. If you're looking for me to be the technical guy, Cruiseman, we're gonna be on the struggle bus for a bit, but it's okay. I can elaborate just a little. Essentially the good thing is the industry has pretty much standardized on what that front master cylinder bolt is. Our BBO1 model is a 10 millimeter by 1.0 thread pitch. The Hondas, since inception, and somebody can check me if I'm wrong, I think like 72, since they had hydraulic brakes, have always used the same bolt. In fact, the big four have, and several other manufacturers. It really depends on the brake manufacturer. But this, between our BBO1 and the BBO5, is a 10 millimeter by 1.25 thread pitch. Between those two bolts, it covers about 93% of bikes ever made. I'm talking scooters to Aprilia to, I'm not going to sit here and name all the brands on the planet, but it covers them. It covers most. The only difference there is Harley, and that's not a knock on Harley. They just did, let's say, non-metric things and some other bolts that encompass our 2, 3, and 4. That's our BBO 2, 3, or 4 are Harley specific. So they just did some different things. But excuse my voice, I've been running around all day. To answer your question, where you take the front master cylinder or your banjo bolt out of the front master cylinder, of course your brake line goes right through there, and you pop our unit on there, which the whole install takes about 4 minutes, and you don't have to bleed it. And people question this, but it's been proven time and time. We're breaking the system at the top where it is designed for all the air to go. If we were breaking it, we were breaking that system anywhere else lower, deeper down in the system, absolutely you would have to bleed that. Air doesn't move quite like that, but that's what the master cylinder is designed to do. So we just do that. You bring the brake pressure back up and cycle the bullet brake. We're basically getting all the little tiny air bubbles out. It doesn't take a great deal. I think in your video it took you, 15, 20, 25.
Yeah.
Other bikes are a little quicker than that for whatever reason. But that's just how my experience with the Goldwings has been, similar to what you went through. And essentially what happens is we only hold the usage part. We only hold the pressure that you put in with your brake. So you give it a firm squeeze, like you're locking your front brake, and you push the piston in. And what that basically is a check valve. Okay. Comparable, but not exactly, to a line lock in a car from the old days. The unique part there is we're keeping all the pressure out of the master cylinder. It is literally held at the bullet brake, at the banjo bolt itself, and it is keeping the caliper disc pads on the rotor. So we're just holding that pressure there and stopping that pressure from coming back to the master cylinder. That's why when you disengage it, all that is doing is rebalancing the system as the master cylinder was designed to do. Okay. So, Yeah, that's what it is. It's a one-way check valve, if you want to call it that.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, it looks simple, but I'm sure there's quite a bit of machining that has to go into this. Because I know when we first
Yes.
met, you had a batch that you weren't happy with, and you had to get some
Yes.
machining issues resolved. Tell us a little bit about the challenges of getting that kind of stuff done.
It's amazing because, when you have, I mean, what you have done for me with your videos and some exposure, obviously you wouldn't do it for a product that you didn't like and your community didn't like. But the exposure that has brought has just ramped things up, right? So here's the challenge in that, right? We're made in the USA, which is wonderful, and I won't have it any other way. Nobody cares about the cost. The users don't care about the cost, but there are cost aspects to it. There's also lead times, and there is challenges of getting the right partner, the right vendor to get things done. Right. So to kind of address your question, the problem, and gracefully you waited for me for quite a while I worked through that, because that really kind of snuck into us a little bit. And the customers that I had were awesome about it. I said, look, we've discovered this problem and I can't believe it, but here we are. The pistons that we had were just wrong. And our measurements go down to the 1,000th of an inch, not even 3,000. So when you're off a little, it can have a severe impact, Right. So our manufacturing specs are extremely tight, kind of like you had mentioned. It's actually about the same, let's call it the plus or minus, the variance of aircraft is where we're at. And that's okay. We're not building an aircraft, but we are using aluminum, and that's just the way it goes. Some people ask me, why don't you make this bolt out of steel like the one you get? Well, you can't do what we do to steel. It's just not possible. You can't get in the tolerance that we need. So, yes, when you waited last fall, and then we did meet at the Goldwing Glizzy's event finally, and then I sent you some units for you to try out, and you did what you did without my input. That was a manufacturing issue before that, and when you have those kind of things, you can have 8 to 12 weeks of lead time, right. And people are, well, let me order and just leave you with my money for 3 months and just trust that you're gonna. It's hard, and it takes communication, it takes honesty, it takes customer service, to make everybody be on board with where you're going. So
yeah, I remember
there was no way oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. No, I remember one of the times early on we talked, I was talking about doing the video, and I remember telling you that I just had a sense that this was going to be a pretty popular product. I didn't say that for every product I reviewed, but I just kind of had a feeling, just from have a little pulse of the industry here. I had a feeling that once I did a video, it was going to be popular, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't put a video out and you get swamped with orders that couldn't fill. And you did. So we held off a while to do the video. And
I believed you, Cruiseman. I believed you, but I didn't necessarily financially understand exactly what was going to happen here. And when I say financially, it's a lot to buy thousands of units of all the components that go into it and be prepared. Right. And I had thousands of units. The audience, I got a sense that you liked it, but at the same time, I guess I'm not the best read of a character that said, this is going to be really popular. I'm like, I've been around for a while, and I don't really know this community. I don't really know
you've heard these kind of things
some
before.
Of the other guys. Yeah, I'm sure. If I could go back, I would have made some orders last spring. Yes. it would have been a
Well,
little easier.
I've got another product right now that I'm preparing to review, and I think they're going to be faced with the same situation. It's a product that needs to be manufactured, and
yeah.
I'm just afraid it's one of those that's going to be popular, and I don't know if they can handle the orders, because I've had this happen a couple of times before.
You can give them my number, and I'll give them a quick and dirty lesson
Okay.
on what can happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the channel has a decent reach, I think, and we are able to.
Yeah.
I just like it when you have a small business that's kind of a startup, an American company, an American-made product, and so I believe in it, and I think it works well for me. Just out of curiosity, what would you say the percentage of your sales are Goldwings? Because I can see where this is a real popular thing for the DCT model because it has a parking brake. So I'm assuming that's a pretty good percentage of business.
Yeah.
But this will work with any motorcycle. But what are the number? What is percentage wise? What would you guess the Goldwing community?
I'd say 85%. I thought
really?
about that. It is that high because let's say when you have a company that doesn't have a lot of exposure, okay, you have brought out a Goldwing specific exposure here that has really taken me by surprise, even through your warnings and things like that. But how that has come about, that's why, right? There's been you and a lot of exposure on YouTube, and it's just one of those things. Oh, hey, did you know about? And then it just it mushrooms, right? It just gets bigger and bigger, and spreads more. So that's what I try to be prepared for going forward. But yes, right now it is. I'm also working. And keep in mind, the BB05 is not Goldwing specific, right?
Right.
It's for the Goldwing. All Hondas ever made have used that same bolt. But if somebody orders for what has a Kawasaki or I could name tons of brands, not off the top of my head, that use a BB05. So I don't know that every one of those is out, but I'm going to say that the influx in the last 3.5 months since your video has been out would say 85%. That would be my guess.
And how are you reaching these other brands, or have you found other influencers on YouTube that are? I don't know that many of them, honestly. I don't watch other brand. I mean, I watch some, but not that many. I just wonder, is it like the Goldwing community out there? Do they have their people out there that are pushing those brands? I'm sure BMW does. And
yeah, and that's a great question. It's kind of a yes and no question. Okay, so the Goldwing community, I think, is kind of unique to what I've seen. I don't know what I don't know. I'll put it that way. But you guys seem to have a very it's a singular bike, right? And you all have kind of a push behind it, and you talk very specifically about that bike. And there's influencers, and I don't know if that's a good or bad word, Cruiseman. I don't mean to.
No, that's good. Yeah.
This is your business. There's people that get the word out via, YouTube or whatever. I've had lots of Goldwing people come to me. It seems to be a very meshed well together community.
Right.
So sure, we're in that push. So outside of that, you could always say Harley in clubs and, rallies and things like that. And I have hooked up with a club I really like in Atlanta called NPC. They are not Harley specific, and they are all about veterans, police, and first responders, and they are a charity club. Oh. And they have several chapters going all the way to Houston, all the way up the Northeast. So the point is, I'm not in any particular group there. I'm with a charity organization that is a club. So I've already been to 2 events with them. I'm going to one all day tomorrow up in the North Georgia mountains. And the Harley riders are like, hey, what's this? And all of a sudden they really like it. And those guys, most of them, just like your non-DCTs, they like it because there's other uses than just a parking brake for whatever. I mean, if you don't want to lean your bike while you're in traffic, You don't want to have your left hand on the clutch all the time. You want two hands free. You want to have 2 feet free. The thing, it sets in less than a second, and it makes it extremely handy. Somebody's getting on or off. And if you're on a kickstand, there's still some wobble. There's still some engine roll. I'm not saying it's huge. I'm not saying it's a problem at all. What I'm saying is a little extra security, even for that aspect. Trailering, I know nobody likes to talk about that, but sometimes it happens. And, there's lots of little uses for $100 item that is pretty handy. That's the best feedback I've gotten is actually, I didn't realize how much I would like this and how many uses. And there you go. You don't know because you've never had one. And nobody really has. So,
and tell me about the trike community, especially as it pertains to Goldwings, but because of the DCT, because the DCT really has changed the game for Honda Goldwing trikes. And I would think that within the Goldwing community, the trike community would be a very because of the weight of the trike.
Yes,
that there's no way that. Now, I'm sure some trike kits also have parking brakes built in. I don't know that much about trikes, but tell me about the trike application.
Sure. The trike market is one of the bigger markets that I have, and because even non-Goldwing, when you convert a bike to a trike, and I'm not saying like to use the Goldwing in that or the bullet brake on that Goldwing trike just the same. But other brands, you got to do a conversion, right? You're adding a third brake and you're doing all these things. They don't have a parking brake at all, right? So the trike community is kind of like electric bikes, for instance. They literally have nothing. They're automatic, sure, because they'll put a recluse on there, or they're just automatic due to the conversion that the company did. I actually have about 4 dealers in the U.S. that do huge trike conversions, sidecars, things like that have bullet brakes on hand and recommend them. So that is an aspect of my business. But
and also,
like I said, like the electric.
Yeah, a lot of Goldwingers, I know I used to, I haven't lately, but will pull a trailer behind their bike.
Yeah.
And that adds that additional weight too. So that no way that parking brake's going to hold that. I mean, it barely holds the bike.
Yeah. And, as you pertain to right off your introduction, an important thing to note is just plain physics here. Your bike goes forward, right? I mean, let's just say you're taking off. With the front wheel lock, all it does is dip down and you pop the handle and there you're gone. Okay. With your back brake engaged, whether you have a trailer on it, whatever you have, your engine can override that little parking brake. Pure force.
Yeah.
And so it gets out of adjustment. It wears down. You pay the labor to go do that, or you're stuck where you don't even have a parking brake, right? If you're on a trip or something, that happens. I mean, people are forgetful and it happens. The bullet brake is very good in that.
It happened to me last year in Colorado.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. My parking brake was shot, and I had to get a rod and put under the back wheel, keep the bike from rolling backward when we parked at a national park. So, if I'd had the bullet brake when we went, wouldn't have been an issue.
I recommend you use both, but the bullet brake's a great backup in that scenario. And I don't even mean the bullet brake's a backup. Let's be honest. It's a great reminder for when you take off that you'll never screw up your parking brake again. It's a reminder to, that's got to go. Oh, my parking brake. Yeah, I got it. It does serve that. That was never the intended purpose, of course. I mean, we can hold over 3,000 pounds of pressure on that little bullet brake. Your front wheel, you could take off all you want. It's just your wheel's just going to skid. That's all there is to it. It's just going to slide. It's not.
You'll know real quick that you left it on.
You'll know real quick, yeah.
So is there any? I get a lot of questions about the bullet brake, and is there any negative to the brake system for leaving the bullet brake engaged, say overnight, or for any length of time? Is there a time limit, or keeping that hydraulic pressure on those hoses and on the calipers?
Right.
What can you say about that?
Look, you have plenty of mechanics in your audience, and you have plenty of people that are way smarter than I am in this aspect. But here's my take on that. I've tested the bullet brake for holding for 9 months without losing a single pound of pressure. I have a test bench. Is that real world? No, it's not. But it's a bench that does, real braking and all that good stuff. So as far as a time limit goes, there should be no leak down. And I say should. If there was a slow leak, it would take quite a while. Things happen with machining and manufacturing. I think it's how you handle that situation more than anything. But just to stay on task as far as, things that are concerning when it comes to that, the brake is certainly designed to, put the pads on the rotor. That's what it does. Okay.
Right.
Somebody could easily argue, even though I don't personally see how, you could easily argue that leaving the pads on there for too long, maybe in harsh conditions, might have an impact in some way that I would not understand. I don't think that's the real use case for the bullet brake. I don't think people are out there for 6-9 months testing to make sure it holds that long. But, as far as pressure on the hoses, we don't put any more pressure than what you break anyway. That said, I also understand somebody could easily say, hey, you're holding that pressure for an extended period of time. Maybe there's something there. I have never heard that. Honda has no problem with the bullet brake warranty-wise. Harley has no problem with the bullet brake warranty-wise. If they did, I think they would say, listen, you're screwing up our braking system. You are screwing up our hydraulic hoses. You're doing this. I think everything, like I said, 3,000 pounds, those hydraulic hoses
they're
made to stand over-engineered. Thank you. And those things probably hold well more than 3,000, your brake lines. And when you absolutely max out, you might put 12 to 1,500 pounds to get it to the handlebar with all of your might. So I think there's some over-engineering there that's a good word. A safety margin, you might say, for that sort of thing, for wear and tear. We're not really pushing the boundary, I don't think. Again, I'm open to anybody's opinion. Manufacturers, mechanics, we all have them. And that's okay. Another concern, and why I always say somebody can come by and just, you're not at your bike. They don't know what a bullet brake is. They squeeze your front brake. It's a kid. It's a person that doesn't respect the fact that you're not really supposed to do that. Right. They don't know how to set that parking brake anymore. It's also hydraulic based. If you have a leak, which this doesn't happen very often, in fact, I've never heard of it, but I should say I haven't with a bullet brake. I'm sure people have had hydraulic leaks through their brakes or basically their brakes or any fittings or things like that. Again, I think that stuff is over-engineered not to have that problem. That's a real safety problem. I mean, if you're going down the highway at 70 and the brakes go out, that's the equivalent of that. But we can't hold what the calipers won't hold, right? So there's another, if you want to say what's a possibility for failure, there you go. So, but I'm not afraid to admit those things, but people take that into their own account and, use it as they will. But the acceptance by the Goldwing community has been incredible. I have had a couple problems, but that's not the bullet brake so much. And here's, as we alluded to, a little bit of a tough thing when it comes to manufacturing in America and lead times and things like that. That's kind of specialty seals that we use on both sides of the bullet brake. Okay. They're centering and functional, and getting those made and getting them custom made for you, it's a process, and it's one that I struggle with. It's one I don't have nailed down as well as my machining work, which I have a new machinist, they're fantastic. So the problem that was alluded to on our original bullet brake video actually was the seals, not the bullet brake. I set new seals, instantly fixed. And it was because I had a batch that was kind of, and I'm just labeling down my partner, my vendor, to make this so, hey, I need 4,000 of these at a time. And, I need them to be consistent. I need them to be good. And it's tough to find that partner.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's not like China, where I could get thousands of those for $20, the quality, whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm staying here. I'm supporting local, as in, lower 48 of the U.S. states, and making this in America. And I don't blame that it's tougher or more expensive. It's the culture, because China is geared towards that, right? And it just comes here and it's available. You can't expect somebody to have a brick and mortar business specializing in that if you don't have a customer base. Right. And, that has narrowed down. Manufacturing in America has narrowed down. So that does make it challenging, but I'm doing my part that I can to support local U.S. businesses.
As I understand, there is maybe a back order situation right now on the BB-05. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir. In black, and I'm almost out of silver. I did have to change machinists just because, yes, of course, with the dimensions we talked about earlier, or the tolerances, I should say. There's Swiss type machine and Swiss type machinists, and there's Swiss type machine. You see what I mean? There's a variance in there. And I've gone to a company that's much higher level. Quite incredible, to be honest with you. The best I could really find in the U.S. And their work is impeccable. So, yes, changing machinists and then getting the ramp up of all the orders of my previous stock, which is still good. I mean, it works, right? There was nothing wrong with those, but the piston problem, for instance, was caused by that. Yeah. So I've moved on. Back to the point, though, the back order, it has been going on, just changing machinists during this ramp up. And then there's 10 to 12 weeks of lead time, which I have paid and bartered my way down to more like 6 to 7. So people have been waiting. I have over 100 orders of waiting, and dealers, and everybody's been extremely cool about it. Some have changed to silver, not their first choice. I understand. But at the end of the day, it does show good. And you get used to it. It's really not that bad. But is
the black, is it anodized?
Oh, both are. Okay.
Oh, they both are.
So yes, absolutely. You have to anodize aluminum, or else you're going to get rust. You're going to have problems. So right now I have black and I have clear. So you have 60-61 aluminum, which is quite shiny. And then you put a light clear hard coat anodizing over it. That's why I call it silver. To some silver means chrome. I cannot. Chrome will ruin my tolerances. I can't do it.
Right.
But it's a silver. I think you have one in your hand there. And it comes out much shinier than that before you get it anodized. But the black is very popular. I would love, as this company grows, I would love to do other colors. Okay. People like red. People like gold. There's all kinds of things you can do with anodizing.
The sport bike guys would love that.
Yeah. And some of the other guys, right? They get the 50th anniversary and they say, you know what? I want this gold to match that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to have the economies of scale to do it. Right.
Right.
I can't do one-offs. It's kind of, it's unless I charged and some people would be willing to pay for that, but the logistics of it are, you become a one-off company, it becomes very hard. I'd rather have a couple hundred red and a couple hundred blue, green, gold, you name it. I'd rather have that and say, here we go, and have a much better website, by the way, that would show that. That would be ideal. And I think we could get there pretty soon. So I don't want to do that and kind of sit on no business owner wants to sit on product forever. So I'm still getting a feeling for the market. Things are ramping up, sure. Big explosion after your video, obviously. Is that going to be sustained? I think so. There were 24.9 million Honda Goldwings made globally last year alone. And take that right on back. That's potentially, a few 100 million clients going back to, so the market's there. It's a matter of getting the word out.
What is your, just give me a quick philosophy on customer service and your philosophy on that.
Thanks. And I appreciate that question, Cruiseman, very much, because it's kind of the foundation of what I would even go into business for. I have parents just like everybody else, and I have friends, and they remember times when customer service actually meant something. Somebody actually cared on the other line. What we have now are you're arguing with a computer. You're punching numbers. You're getting frustrated because it takes you 30, 35, whatever minutes to get to somebody. I'm not saying that's not a knock on companies. Maybe that's an economy of scale I don't understand, but it's an economy of scale I never want to get to. Yeah. I would rather pay 20 good people to take care of customers than pay 100 to not take care of customers. And I think sometimes people just need to be heard. And yeah. I don't see the problem in lending somebody a minute to say, this is my thing. And you know what? Hey, what's happened's happened. Let's move forward together and make it right. I think that's treating people how you want to be treated. I'm a consumer too. Okay. Right. I would like to see more of that in this life. So I try and model how I do things, albeit I'm small. I don't understand what I don't understand, but I don't ever want to get to a place where it feels like that, what I experience. So customer service is number one to me. They got to believe in you before they do your product and feel heard. And you can't please every customer. The customer's not always right. That includes me as a customer. Right. But you do everything you possibly can for that customer to make things right. And that's my philosophy on that. And it's my number one thing, to be honest with you. So I appreciate you bringing up that subject.
Absolutely. I know that we have a deal that people that watch my channel are probably aware that I think we have you'll have to refresh my memory. We have a discount code Cruiseman where they can buy the bullet brake and save some money. What is it? Is it 10%, 15%? What is it? I forgot.
I gave 15%, and that was really, I've never had the bullet brake on sale, and your code is just Cruiseman, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I know.
I'm sure you'll probably put it in.
I heard you mention something earlier about you're working with a group of veterans and first responders, and do you have something similar for them?
I do. So thanks for asking for that, because I do want people. This medium and your guys' support has been a great way to get the product out there, because somebody that's happy is going to tell 6 of their buddies about this little product, and then they're going to order and they're going to be happy and they're going to tell 6 more. So Southern Honda kind of set the standard. I've never put the bullet brake on sale ever. It's been $119.95 globally forever. And then Southern Honda's like, nope, we're selling it for 15% less. And I said, okay, who am I to say, at the Goldwing Glizzy's event? Sure. So then you came in and did a video, which was kind of the first one. And we said, well, if they're doing it, let's do that. And you know what? I've carried that across to other groups as well, like the other group that I've talked about outside of Goldwing specific. And I am carrying that on. But the one thing I said when I made a coupon code for anybody, it will never be better than the veteran and first responder code. And my website's not great. Let's just be clear about that. But I would love to put on there, call or email for the veteran first responder code, because it is not something I will post, because there's false valor. People will use it just to get a deal. And being a veteran or a first responder means more than that to me and many others. I actually like that unique experience. I've had 30-minute conversations with veterans. Hey, do you help out veterans? Yes. Use this code when you go to checkout, or I'll do it for you. I love helping people like that. And I, above all, will reserve my biggest discount for veterans and first responders, because that's kind of what I'm about. And I know just the motorcycle culture in general is very much about that too.
Well, I'm going to encourage everybody again to go back and watch my video where I do an installation and a review of the bullet brake. And I'm going to invite everybody to go to bulletbrake.com and check out their product. And I think we covered just about everything we need to cover. I really do appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today and tell us a little more about your product and your business. And I think it's very exciting. I think 2-3 years from now, we're going to see quite an explosion with the bullet brake across multiple brands.
Well, you started it, Cruiseman, so you can sit down with that one. I look forward to the future of what we do, and I've met a lot of good people in the process, like yourself and several others that we all kind of build things together. We do
absolutely.
You do things. I guess that's what a community is about. With the time that we have here, right?
Yep.
So,
well, I just want to thank you for joining me, and
yes,
I look forward to seeing the future, and I will see you soon at the next Goldwing event. Thanks, Mark, for being a part of this today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Cruiseman. I will see you at Southern.
Garage Talk is available on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, and of course, YouTube. You can help support the podcast by making sure you've subscribed to my YouTube channel. Just click that little subscribe button down below. Don't forget to click the notification bell. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you hit that like button and give it a thumbs up. That really does help the channel.